My name is Ramon Ray. Thanks for being here with the Rundown with Ramon, because if you weren't here, I wouldn't have a show. Thanks for being here today. Today, we're going to talk to my friend Glen Gould, who's going to talk to us all about working with interesting people, working with people who have discerning taste. We'll talk a little about trust, about discretion, about fairness. Glen is a former pro golfer, author of 5 books, and owns a few companies and more. Glen, thanks for being here on the Rundown with Ramon. I hope your day, your family is blessed and well. How are you?
You know, Ramon, we are blessed, and I'm grateful to be with you. Looking forward to this time together. Met you back in February, and it's been great knowing you.
Indeed, it's mutually. That was a good time as well. So, Glen, why don't you just unpack a little bit who you are for those? You got the professional golfing side of your world. You're an author of 5 books. I'm curious what some of them are about. You own a few businesses, and just unpack and help us understand a bit who Glen is today. You're a fellow speaker, as I am. So help us understand who you are today. And then I'm going to ask you for a few milestones of what brought you here. Not like back to when you were with your mama. Could be go that far, but more so what brought you today. And then we'll get out some of those tips. So Glen, introduce yourself to us, who you are today.
Sure, Ramon. Thank you so much. So as Ramon said, I'm Glen Gould. I'm a professional speaker and an entrepreneur. I own several businesses. We own as a family, so it's a family business, a dry cleaning, pickup and delivery and processing service in the southwest or south port of Atlanta, Georgia. And we serve high net worth, discerning clientele, couture clothing, people who are, looking for the confidence to know that when they go into their closet, they're going to look their best. And my history is I worked in the Chamber of Commerce industry for 10 years. So that put me in contact with a whole lot of high net worth business owners and people who are constantly trying to find that next opportunity, how they can connect with people and learn from other leaders. And then before that, as Ramon said, I was a golf professional for a number of years. And there's a huge difference between a pro golfer and a golf professional. They make substantially different amounts of money for starters, but a pro golfer plays for a living, and a golf professional teaches the game and works at a local country club. And that's what I did for 10 years. And that gave me access. And really, it's kind of like the barber. You go to the barber and the person sitting in the chair just kind of spills out everything. Well, when you're teaching a high net worth, a business leader, a community leader, golf, you talk a lot about non-golf things. And so I learned a whole lot during that career, just an amazing experience. And that's kind of been my story, is I've just had unusual access to people who are successful. And that's kind of what I speak about. And what I do is I teach people what I've learned so that they can take the shortcut that I've been able to take.
I love it. So since you are what is it, golfing professional? That's the right word to use for you?
Golf professional, yes.
Since you are a golf professional, give us 1 or 2 tips. I'm just curious right now. I'm going away. I'm going to Dubai. I know nothing about golf, or pretend I know a little bit. Play with me here. I'm going off and you're time. And it's like, Ramon, before you go, what are you telling me? What are the 2 or 3 things you're like, Ramon? Wait. Let me tell you this. What are you telling me, Glen?
Well, I'm assuming that would be for a business trip. You're going to play with other business people.
Set up the scenario.
If you don't know a whole lot about golf, my first lesson would be, whatever you do, keep up. Just number 1. Okay. Number 2 is don't forget the number 1 thing I learned in golf, and this is one of the interesting things. Most people think they're supposed to make par, because that's what, Well, if you look in the definition of par in the rules of golf, it is the score that an expert would be expected to make. You're not an expert. Don't expect to shoot par. Don't get down on yourself. Have fun with this game. It's just a walk in a beautiful scenery with, friends, and just treat it that way. And then the third thing is that remember that the object of the game is to get the ball into the hole. Okay, so if you need to pick up to keep up and then go up to the green and drop your ball down and putt, go ahead, but finish the hole. Enjoy the opportunity to be in that group of people, because really it's about the experience, not about the game.
Ooh, I love it. With that, I think I'm going to go. My plane's leaving now. I'll see you later. I'll send you some TikTok videos.
I think you ought to go. I think it sounds like a lot of fun.
Indeed, Glenn, thank you so much. So, Glenn, let's talk about this. One other question I do want to ask is about your books. What are the name of some of them or all of them? Are they all different? Give us a sense of what this body of work is about. 5 books is a good number of books. Myself, I have 5 books, and that's not easy. That's a mature market of knowledge. Talk
Right.
to us through some of them, some of the names, or all, whatever you like.
Sure. You know, I ended up writing books because when I first started speaking, I bought into that whole thing of, hey, listen, if you're going to be speaker, you got to write a book, right? And
Me too.
nobody bothered to tell me that if the book isn't any good, it's not going to help you. And so my first couple, you know, you kind of learn in your way, but
Absolutely.
most of them were about what I was teaching about at the
Mm.
time. And so most of that was connecting and networking. And so a couple of the book names are Is Your Networking Working? 101 Networking Nuggets. And then there's my latest book is called $1 Million Meetings. It's about how I learned by meeting other people, what I learned from them and using it to create $1 million businesses. And then the most interesting book, the one that everybody goes, ooh, that sounds like I've heard it before, is called Meet Me at Starbucks.
That is beautiful. So you're the networking, clearly networking. We may get into some of this right now. So Glenn, before we get into some of the tips on working with discerning individuals, working with high net individuals, working with people and building trust, before we get into that, Glenn, talk to us about how you got here today, if you don't mind. Were there any milestones? Were you just a regular average guy and grew up and you're here today, or anything that we should know about which got you to be in this area the last, I'll pick 15, 20 years of maybe your career? Talk to us. What got you here today?
Sure. Okay. So when I was very young, my dad died when I was 9 years old.
Hmm.
And I went to work when I was 11. And I was fortunate enough to be hired by a substitute teacher who owned a catering service. And he put me in a tuxedo and he basically told me, if you dress nice, if you're polite, and you give people what they want, you'll be able to get what you want. And
Yes.
that lesson never left me. And so during that very early age, we got into golf, my brother and I did, and he worked at a country club and he hired me to come pick up the driving range balls.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And remembering what I was told to be polite and give people what they want, they'll give me anything I want.
That's right.
The people at the country club were just like that. They were marvelous people.
Yes.
And tremendous amount of value of knowledge. And so that I graduated into, being a golf professional. And once I left that industry, I moved into the Chamber of Commerce industry. But there was a little period in there where maybe things didn't go so well. It might have been a couple of those businesses I launched that didn't do so good.
Of course. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't need to talk about those, but anyway,
that's part of the journey of entrepreneurship. Just to underline that, it's part of the journey of entrepreneurship. Please go ahead.
That's right. That's right. And so I did learn a lot during that period, but then got into the Chamber of Commerce industry. And there was a lesson that I learned there because chambers of commerce are typically involved in economic development. And this is something that I think is really important for all business owners, because most of us are taught that people will choose us. Mm. But today, with so many options and so much speed, what really happens is they're looking for a way to not choose us. They're looking for a way to eliminate us. And so if we can find a way to not be on the elimination, are you like everybody else? Oh, you're eliminated. Are you not speaking about what I want to speak about? You're eliminated. Do you have political views that you're sharing that maybe, you're eliminated, right? If we can eliminate being eliminated instead of trying to be chosen, that was a huge lesson to learn in that industry.
I love it. And Glenn, it's amazing how in synchronous you all are. You and I are. I have a little tip I share with young people, not exactly your tips, but I love it. Dress nice and smile, be well. You just be a nice person, Glenn. Life is not that difficult, but thankfully for you and I, we're around enough. I say this respectfully, morons, you and I can thrive, because everybody else, not everybody, but we're around. So that's one. And I love the thing that you said also about this last tip. I think it's powerful. It's really, really, really powerful. So Glenn, let's jump into it. Glenn, talk us about the aspect of what can we learn from you in your experience working with, again, what I'll call discerning people. Everybody's the same. Everybody wants food, clothing, and shelter. But there are some people, and I must say, you and I could be like that a bit. I'm blessed. I have my needs met. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to build the trust, to work in this world? How do you, and as you told me offline, these are not mean people, not nasty people, but they've achieved some things in life where they can expect a certain a status of things in a good way. I like to fly first class. No, no shame.
And you
Call me a
should.
bit bougie. Yeah, call me a bit bougie, but I've earned it. So
Yeah.
talk to us, Glenn. How do we serve those people? And in fact, using your words, to get what we want. How do we do this? What are you telling your team even? Talk to us.
Well, one of the things that we talk about quite a lot is that we talk about that let's just talk about in the dry cleaning business. We talk about the fact that we're selling confidence. That's really what we're selling. We're selling the idea that those people know that they can walk into their closet and they can look their best because we serve them the way they wanted to be served. And that's the second thing we talk about. It's not necessarily giving them what we want them to have. It's more about giving them what they want to receive. And so, you have to understand that everybody's not going to want things done the same way. And that happens whether it's in the dry cleaning business or in the speaking business or in the golf business. You have to understand that people no longer want you or to give what you want to give. They want to receive what they want to receive. Now, when you talk about the high net worth people and the people that we deal with a lot, they're very particular, but they're incredibly fair. And they're even more than fair, they're understanding. And if you just communicate, and that's the thing that most people don't do anymore. We've gotten into this texting and emailing, and we pick up the phone and we call people and we say hi and we talk to them. We have a thing called just because calls. We call just because you're our client. That we don't have an agenda.
My dry cleaner has never called me. My dry cleaner has never called me in my life.
Right.
Ever.
And so we have to